Hey guys, this is Alan Cai. Thanks for having me here. I'm very honored to sit down and answer some questions with you guys. I kind of want to study something like along the lines of physics or philosophy in college. But of course that's changing every day, because in high school my favorite subject is probably something like history or math. So definitely a lot of really cool interests that I really want to see what I can do if I go to four-year colleges. As for careers, my dream job was always to be an Air Force general, and it still is to a large respect, but I think definitely more realistically, I'll probably try to go to a four-year college, maybe join the Army or the Air Force after. Of course, my plans change a lot, so we're always thinking about a little bit about what we're gonna do, and yeah. So Savik and I were actually part of the regular speech and debate club back in freshman year. It was really cool because we both did public forum. He and Parli, me and Arush, and we were like, public forum isn't really for us. So for those of you who aren't really interested in debate, public forum is kind of more of like the standard form of debate in which you have the same topic for a whole month, for months at a time. And then we were like, hey, this isn't really for us because it requires a lot of patience in which you have to sit down, do a lot of research and everything. And I know a lot of those teams can do it really well. Leo and Ashish, Skylar and Anthony do really well in debate and everything. But for us, it's just we wanted something a little bit more spicy, if that makes sense. In which we were like, hey, what's a more dynamic form of debate that we can try? And that's why we kind of did a little bit of research, and then hey, there's parliamentary debate. That was kind of a thing that was growing in various parts of the country. So then we're like, we kind of branch out a little bit from the debate club and create our own club. So that's what we did back in freshman year. We want our own form of debate. We also want our own format and everything, so we just created our own club. Parliamentary debate club is really dynamic because it allows you to have a different topic every single round. So at the start of the round, they give you 20 minutes to prep out a topic, and say the topic is United States should replace the Electoral College with the National Popular Vote, right? So you just have to do a ton of research for 20 minutes, and then create an 8-minute speech about it, and then start debating 7 minutes, 8 minutes, blah, 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 blah. Contrast because it's a little bit longer, like regular debate, like public forum, you have 4-minute speeches and then 3-minute and 2-minute. For parliamentary debate, you have 8-minute long speeches, 7 minutes, stuff like that. But the key difference is that parliamentary debate, it has a different topic every single round. So you have to go in, you already have to have a decent amount of background knowledge, but then you also have to kind of be able to think on your feet very quickly and quickly become a semi-expert within 20 minutes on various subject areas. And then of course, when you have more obscure topics, for example Nigeria or Brazil topics, then it's really helpful because you can gain a lot of information. It's also kind of a lot of college debaters also really enjoy doing parliamentary debate because for people in college, they really don't have that much time to spend a month writing a whole case and whatnot. And they prefer parliamentary debate because it's more of a really holistic measurement of how good you are at actually debating, argumentation and whatnot. Homework quality isn't always the most important to me, I suppose. And it's because I think for a lot of the stuff, if you understand the material really well, stats for example, right? If you understand the stuff, you don't actually have to do every problem to the dot, write out the general idea. Everybody, the teacher's gonna understand, everybody's gonna understand. I suppose my time management isn't the best because I usually start my homework at 11 p.m. or something like that, finish at midnight. It's definitely nothing to be a role model of. Not something anybody else should try. Make sure you do your homework, everybody. Make sure you do everything well. Don't be like me. Sometimes there's some edge cases in which if you don't actually do the homework really diligently, it's probably a problem. Do what you like to do. That's very important. For me, I'm doing the musical. Yeah, I think the musical, I like to do the musical. I like to do journalism. I also run, shout out to the Brutus Journal. I run my own newspaper organization in which, we have an app. We have over 30,000 readers across 30 countries. So it's really cool stuff. If you're interested in politics, law, economics, even science, culture, a lot of other things, stocks, stuff like that, we have a lot of different content that you can try. Available on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. I always wanted to join journalism, I think ever since middle school. Because of leadership and some other classes, I wasn't able to join until junior year. So then I was wait a second, I don't actually have to join journalism. I can just create my own newspaper. And I suppose one of the inspirations was definitely Benjamin Franklin. Back when he was 16 years old, he published several essays in the New England Courtier, which was run by his brother. Anonymously, his brother didn't even know that he ran. So I'm if Benjamin Franklin, when he was high school age, can kind of run his own news, then hey, why can't I, right? I think it was a really good idea. Me and Ryan Page-Matty, some of you guys may know them, we were we should create this, and then we created our very own Brutus Journal website. My first article was back in when the Russian-Ukraine war started. So I did a 5-page brief on all the history. If you read the news and everything, it's really quick, right? It's just, oh, the war happened, stuff like that. So I did some research about all the treaties, peace treaties, whether or not the territorial gains and stuff like that, and how the background behind that, and then wrote a 5-page brief about that. That was the first article I think ever published on the Brutus Journal. Ever since then, I think we've written over 300 or 400. For me, I've actually been I actually joined leadership kind of on accident back in middle school. I went to Miller Middle School. So it's I don't know, there's a huge hype around leadership just randomly. Sometimes there's just a huge hype around joining something. Back in Miller, it's leadership announcement was out, and then suddenly everybody in the grade just wanted to do student council suddenly. Like it was like totally like out of the blue, right? And then I was kind of just, it's kind of like a gold rush kind of. It's like I was kind of caught up in the frenzy as well. It's like all my friends were running, everybody in like half the grade was running. I was like, you know what? I can try some of this too, right? So I launched a campaign, which was pretty bad, unfortunately. There was a certain point in which there was just so many posters on like every single wall of campus. It like didn't matter whether or not your posters were good or bad. Like some magical stroke of luck, I got elected as student council secretary by some magical stroke of luck. And then I tried it. I just did like, I don't know, I just like kind of really overcommitted on leadership. Like I was like president of all the committee interviews and everything, because I really had nothing else to do over it, right? Over COVID. It's not like COVID, okay, kind of just like looking at how a lot of different like commissions work, how, okay, Miller's leadership works slightly differently. They have like Green Commission, they have like Outreach Commission, Engagement Commission, stuff like that. So I kind of just listened in on all the meetings. It was a great social time for everybody as well, especially like sitting behind your computer all day. I had a lot of fun. So that's why like when freshman year, when they were like, oh, class offices, let's do some interviews for class offices, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely something I was really wanting to do. Especially like getting to interact with all these different people, work with a lot of things, and then do things that actually can help change and impact the school. Luckily, I was very lucky to have an opportunity to serve as your ASB president, and very humbled by that aspect. Long-term goals. Oh, this might be a tough one for me because I don't think too long-term. I usually like, I just sign up for stuff on a whim, do random stuff. Senior year, believe it or not, I'm probably going to just grind out science school because I don't know, it's an activity that I think is like probably the most fun, perhaps even more fun than musical, because of just the energy and like the competitiveness that it brings. Not that good at science school, right? Like you have people like Abide, you have people like Skylar who are just like miles ahead of me. But it's just regardless of where your skill level is at, like it's just if you press that buzzer down and give a buzz, like just get something random, like, and the adrenaline it brings, like if you get it right or wrong, it's really like. And also shout out to Miss Knock for hosting all the science school trials. Really appreciate it. Couldn't do it without you. Next year, my goal is to just do science school very well. College, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Like trying new things. You know, whether it's sports or music or whatever. I suppose that's not necessarily a good thing because like, you know, a lot of people who can like focus on like one subject like for a long time, they can get really good at it. I don't know. It's just, I suppose like I don't really like have the. And I think this is definitely a personality weakness of mine. I don't have that much like of the patience or like the ability to like persevere for like long spans of time for doing certain things. But for people who can like really like get really good at like one or two things, I really admire them. Back to 6th grade, right before COVID, I joined debate. What debate really teaches you whether or not you do Parli debate or you do public forum debate or any form of debate. It forces you to kind of find different perspectives to arguments, right? And when you're forced to find these different perspectives to arguments, you're kind of like able to think or become more open-minded or like inclusive to like different ideas. You kind of think a little bit more outside the box. That one was definitely a blessing. And then during COVID, I watched a lot of speeches, not just from like the 2020 election cycle, but like also from previous like presidencies like Reagan's. I even got my hands on some like Kennedy speeches, so that was pretty cool. Like when you kind of see how these like other people think like from past generations, you can also get yourself more exposed to ideologies, which I think can really help you develop a more cohesive understanding of the world. I think like working with others is probably one of the hardest things in probably all of education. Probably a lot of different people have like different ideas, a lot of different people have like different personalities, and working with others is all about the art of like being able to bring all of these people and these ideas together into like one big project. Probably not the best team worker, just because it requires like a certain degree of, I don't know, something that I haven't really quite grasped yet, but it's something that I'm trying to work on. I'm currently reading How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it gives a lot of really good tips about how to like, you know, bring people together and mesh ideas and everything. Humility is also very important. Humility is the most important trait anybody can ever have, because, you know, humility allows you to have the ability to, you know, being modest, the ability to see different sides of like arguments, but then also like understand that, you know, I am just very, very like insignificant compared to like, you know, so many other things that are happening, and that if I can like kind of learn more, I admire the people who are just able to be so humble, and for me I should do my best to kind of just make sure that I'm more observant of like other people at our ASB, and this is what I'm talking about to like my ASB and the leadership class that I'm interviewing right now. It's just as leadership, like our responsibility isn't just to like plan events, right? Our responsibility is also to serve as a role model for the school. And so, like, kind of like the face of the school. So So it's not just enough to like be able to plan events and execute events like perfectly. It's also important to like display the image of like, you know, humility, of integrity, of accountability, stuff like that. Thanks so much for having me. Thank you for your time, and love you guys.